Change your coaching style or your game plan in any way?
Ben, yeah, there's a lot in the squad, but not that many in the side, the starting 17, but enough to have to do a lot of work on getting the language right and making sure the kids know what's going on, what the players are. Senior guys that have been there a number of years have fallen into it pretty quickly, but so the younger ones are the ones we've been working on, but they've handled it pretty well.
What about for you, Cam? Has your leadership role become any more significant, knowing that you've got some young blokes in this broader squad? Much more giving of advice?
A little bit, Benny. But not only myself, the guys that have been around for a long time, as Tim alluded to. The guys that have been in this side now for the last 3 years have done a lot of work with the young guys this week. More so just getting them on board with the style of play that we want to, how we want to play this tournament. Some of the plays that we've had in our side now for a few seasons that we think will work for us. Just getting them and letting them understand, what we're about and how we want to do things on game day.
Yeah, they've been really good. We probably had one mishap with young Dallin. He had an accident in the beach down on the Gold Coast there, where he rolled his foot and unfortunately put a small fracture in his foot. So he won't take any part in the tournament. But apart from that, everything else has been going all right.
Simon, the Australian side, some seasoned stars not making this Four Nations trip or campaign. So from your side, does that make the Australians vulnerable or dangerous?
Definitely not vulnerable. I guess there's no point in talking about who's not here. It's more who's playing. And I know they've got guys making their debut, but the season campaigners at NRL level, Origin level, and Premiership winners. So they're a quality side, and we still see them as the number one team in this comp, and it's going to be a great challenge for us on Saturday. So our main focus has obviously been ourselves, but we're not taking anything away from the team they're fielding.
Well, again, as Cameron was saying, just getting the systems in place, getting the guys feeling comfortable, the younger ones, even some of the senior guys who have now been pushed up into the starting side to get them, up to speed. Changed a couple of positions, a couple of back rows will be playing front row, so that's another change. So there's been a fair bit of work done at training just to get our on-field stuff right. The off-field's been good. Players have been, come together really, really well. If anything, you can't shut the younger blokes up, but so I'm happy with the preparation so far.
Cameron, do you feel it's on you and the likes of yourself and guys like Inglis to lift the young players in the squad?
I guess there's a sense of that that there's a fair bit of responsibility on the senior players of the group to perform well. I think we all recognise that fact. We spoke about it earlier in the camp actually that there is a lot of new faces in our team. But I agree with Simon. I made the comment to a few of the older guys during the week that I've been really impressed with the way that the young guys have trained and how quickly the groups come together. I wasn't too sure how they were going to come into camp and train, but they've been really positive. They've obviously listened to Sheensy throughout our meetings and when we spoke about our systems, and they've done really well. So I'm excited to see how they're going to go on the weekend, and in the next few matches, if young guys get the opportunity to play, which Tim has done in tournaments in the past, hopefully they play well.
Well, yeah, probably they've got a window of opportunity this tournament, given that so many guys are out. So it's a great chance to cement a spot, or at least put some pressure on the selectors and for next year and the year after. When you think about it, most players get a start by way of an injury to a senior guy at clubland, and the good ones never look back. So it'll be interesting to see how many of these kids are there and put pressure on for next season. But it also broadens the base of players that have got experience that we can choose from. So obviously 32-year-olds, 33-year-olds for the World Cup is going to be difficult. I'm not saying impossible for players to continue to play into their mid-30s, but 31-year-olds aren't too bad. Might cop an interchange here or there. Yeah, so, I know England and New Zealand the same. They've been blooding younger players, so it's become our turn, and if they do well, then that's going to stand well for next year's selection, and certainly 16, which is a Four Nations in England, and then, of course, 17, the World Cup back here.
How much work have you done on adjusting to going back to the international rules?
Yeah, there's a number of changes, not that many in the interpretations, but enough for the guys to, a scrum for the 40-20, for instance, and a 6 tackle instead of a 7 tackle. So there are a number of changes, and same for English players. They've got a few that they use at home under their interpretation. So yeah, it's something, but we've done that every year. So we sit down and talk about what the differences are. So once upon a time it was 3 pages, not that long ago, but it's more, half a dozen things that you've probably got to, instinctively you're thinking, that's a tap, and it's not now, it's a scrum or whatever. Yeah.
Some of those guys making their debut.
Yeah, I think even if those young guys weren't in the side, I think it's important to get away to a good start. I don't think these type of games you want to be chasing the opposition. You don't want to be trying to look for easy points or looking to go away from your game plan to try and get tries. But I think the way we've prepared this week has been great. The game plan that we've got for tomorrow's match is pretty simple, and I'm pretty confident that we can carry that game plan out. But the guys that have come in, we've mentioned it earlier that they're pretty experienced. I think there's a couple making their debut for Australia tomorrow, but they've played in big matches before. A guy like Dylan Walker, he's been around for a while now, and he's played in the Premiership this year, so he knows what the big games are about.
Cameron, can I ask, 2007, 8 new faces in the Kangaroos, you beat the Kiwis 58-0 in Wellington.
Yep.
Has it been mentioned this week that, in the past situation, a lot of you guys and in the result?
No, that hasn't been mentioned this week at all. I'm struggling thinking back 12 months, let alone that long ago. But it's a whole new group of players, a new coach. I think maybe from that game there might be 3 or 4 players involved. So this has just all been about our preparation this week, coming together as a team, understanding that it's going to be a big first up match for both teams. It's crucial in these tournaments that you start well, because if you don't, then you're trying to come up with ways to get yourself into the final.
Who's the New Zealand player you guys talk about the most when you're having meetings or sitting around your dinner?
We don't really talk about the Kiwi players at dinner. It's no disrespect to the Kiwi boys. I think it's the same either way. But it's same every game we play the Kiwis. We know that they're very strong through the middle. I think we seen the way they played in Sydney early in the year, that they attacked us through the middle, and they had some success through there. So we know that the boys in the ruck are going to come under a lot of work tomorrow, a lot of challenges. But in saying that, they got great players out wide too. They got great players across the park. They're a wonderful football side. It's not so long ago in the big matches that they've beaten us. So we're fully aware of their capabilities. There's not one single player that we've focused on or tried to single out. They're a great side across the park, and everyone needs to be on their game.
I know he was very disappointed to miss out on the initial squad, but with Dallin, obviously we got some fairly good cover there, and Jared Beale, Manu Vatuvai, and also with Josh coming into the group now. He's played a fair few positions this year, Josh. So we feel that we can cover it off fairly well. It's a real shame for Dallin. I thought the games that he had this year for Penrith really showed that he's got a wonderful future in the game, and I'm sure he's got plenty of Kiwi tours ahead of him.
Cameron,
you probably know what to get from the Australian team. That's a pretty consistent team for a long time. With the fact they've got 5 dead times, is there one of them that sort of kept you awake at night, and one that you've been focusing on this week?
But we, again, our preparation has been, about, gelling. We've got a fair, few new guys into our group also. So, our preparation has been about making sure that we get ourselves right and get our preparation right for a great performance tomorrow night. But again, as was touched on earlier, I think, Daniel Tupou, who's played Origin this year and played really well. Aaron Woodsy's played Origin, and young Dylan Walker, who I'm sure is going to play Origin in the future. They're all big game players, and they know what it takes, at that level. So, for us, it's really important that we get ourselves right.
Cameron, what did you make of last week in the junior and having kick off and
No, I've seen that. I've only seen a little bit of the vision. I haven't seen the whole thing. That obviously, creates a lot of talk amongst the fans and the public. I think the last time we did that was in the World Cup final and we got beaten. So no, we won't be doing that again. But as far as the Haka is concerned, I think it's really, for a guy that's witnessed so many of them, it's a great thing to witness, and to be standing on the field and watch the Kiwis go through the Haka. It's a great feeling. It's obviously a huge part of the Kiwi tradition. It's great for all sports, not just rugby league. And yeah, it really is it's a privilege to be on the same field as them when they're doing it.
Stephen, the May Test you have.
Certainly think, helping or having the likes of Kieran and Tommy, and even, Isaac Luke, although he isn't playing this weekend, he's been wonderful around camp. He's, obviously, grown a great deal, over the last 24 months, and even more so over the last 12 months, and he's, he's really helping out the group around trainings. But, to have Kieran and Tommy there, they've been around a fair while. Kieran, who's a wonderful player. I'm sure they'll be of assistance for us at some stage tomorrow night.
So you said that Australia is still the number one team in your eyes, but you see this as an open tournament, or is it
Yeah, no, it's I guess everyone's here for a reason, and we see them as number one. They're obviously world champs from last year, and that's taking nothing away from the other opposition. It's in the sense that this is our first challenge for the tournament. With it being such a short tournament, every game's as important as the next. So, I know both teams will be wanting to get off with a good start, because the following games aren't going to get any easier. With England and Samoa. So, an important match for both teams, and we have a lot of respect for them as a team, and we have a lot of respect for ourselves as a team, so it should be a good challenge. Yeah, I think it's everything. Obviously there's the tradition. As a Kiwi, you learn a Haka as a very young kid, and the chance to perform it in front of 50-odd thousand tomorrow and against Australia is obviously the pinnacle. So. A lot of tradition and a lot of pride in performing it, and obviously as New Zealanders we hold it in high regard.
Tests. I mean, what do you expect from an opposition team when you perform? And I mean, did you find that those Junior Kangaroos is disrespectful, or did this sort of spiral out of control? What happened there?
I guess there's a lot of testosterone going around at that age, and it's I don't think you'll see it tomorrow. But yeah, it's obviously I'll leave it at that.
The key message there is there's a lot of testosterone. Okay, just make sure you got that there. Can I just squeeze in one question, Shenzi, for you? By my count, there's only 2 or 3 specialist front rowers in this game. You think that's going to change the way it's played? Will it be faster, more open?
I would like to think we'd be a bit more mobile because of it, but because we're going to have to be in the middle, we're going to be put under pressure by New Zealand, and I'm sure England next week will be looking to do the same thing to us. So the challenge is for our forwards and our centre to stand up. So we've got a couple of back rowers there, but we've also got a couple of young front rowers in Woods and young Clemmer too that he'll get a start at some stage. We're going to have to improve the size of our forwards. There all seem to be New Zealanders and Kiwis at the moment that are playing well in the NRL, winning all the awards and things. So, the challenge is for us to find some big men, but in the meantime, it's not uncommon to see big back rowers playing, particularly at the back end of their career, playing in the front row.
Jason Toombulala's had a big build-up to basically the start of his Test career. What are you expecting from him? He had a great NRL season for the Cowboys.
Yeah, a wonderful season this year, Jason. I thought that the last 2 months for him were the best I've seen from him in a long time, and so he's really looking forward to tomorrow night. Obviously he's can be very damaging with the football in his hands, so we'll be trying to get the football in his hands as often as possible. Again, in terms of the build-up, I think Jason, he's been part of our Junior Kiwi program for a couple of years. We had him in his 18th man in 2012 in Auckland, so by his own standards last year, I think he played a couple of Q Cup games last year, but I think the way that he's performed over the course of this year has been outstanding. So we're looking forward to seeing him run around for us tomorrow night.
Steve, how different has your approach been to this tournament than, say, the World Cup that's gone a little bit weird for the past 12 months?
Yeah, again, it's been a little different in the sense that we've got a fair few front rows out ourselves for this tournament. So Adam Blair, who traditionally plays as a lock, we'll be using him a bit more as a front rower. So we've got a few new guys who have come into the group, which is on the back of an Anzac week that we had earlier on this year, where we had to bring in a few new guys. So it's been a little bit different in that sense, that we've had to blood a few guys over the last 12 months. But again, preparations, as I said, apart from Dallin's little mishap on Monday, have been going along really well.
Have you changed your approach at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us we have a foundation in how we want to do things. In terms of our structures and what we're trying to achieve, and I think every year you sort of got to try and put a little salt and pepper on things to change them around. And so I'm not going to tell you exactly what that salt and pepper is, but we've looked at doing things a little differently.
Have you got tighter sort of team culture guidelines after some of the fallout from last year's World Cup with behavioural things that came out afterwards?
Yeah, it hasn't been spoken about. Obviously, it's that's well and truly behind us. It was a learning lesson for everyone involved. We've moved on from that. We moved on from it earlier on this year with the Anzac week. So the group of lads that we have there, they understand what we're doing. We're representing our country and our jumper, and they know what's expected when you do that. So I'm sure you'll have no dramas there.
So is the week a relaxed one and intense one? What's it been like we started the tournament?
Yeah, we come into camp last weekend, and it's been fairly intense. Obviously, a couple of new faces, but majority of the squad's much the same. So it's been good. We started up down on the Gold Coast and have had some pretty solid hitouts. We know the importance of starting this comp well. So a fair bit of work's gone in, and hopefully we can see that on the weekend.
Tournament starts in Brisbane, but we know it finishes over in your home country. Does that come with a bit of pressure for you guys to sort of do well for your own fans?
I think it probably brings a bit more excitement than pressure. To have a majority of the tournament back home for us is great. It hasn't been there for a long time, and more so to have that final in Wellington. So it's definitely all ahead of us. It's a tough road to Wellington, but we have a lot of faith in what we're doing as a group, and hopefully we can get there in the end. But obviously it's a fair way down the track.